Right, so I think step one for any sort of servicing fixing is clean the bike personally, because you don't want to be disgusting and filthy and oily and muddy and putting your fingers in who knows what. I'll turn this off because I've cleaned the thing. And I don't want it in the stand for this next bit, because the next step, I would say, if you're doing any work on a bike, is give it a ride. Now I can't really give this a ride, it's got a flat tyre, 2 flat tyres. It's not my bike, I just don't want to. Right, so let me see. Do the gears work? Doesn't really matter about it. Yep, so gears work. I'll just clean and index them. Chains there. So cleaning the bike is obviously super important, because when you clean it, you can check over the frame. Is there any damage in the frame? Oh, let's be. Because if there's a crack in the frame, you don't want to ride the bike. And honestly, unless you've got a really expensive bike, if you've got a crack in the frame, the bike's done. You know, it's not worth repairing. They never repair properly, and on a cheap bike, the expense of it just isn't worth it. Strip the parts off, keep all the parts, sell the parts, take the frame to a metal recycler. They'll thank you for it, because metal this much is worth something. So as you're cleaning it, you can just check over. There's no fractures, there's no cracks. Everything is pretty solid and good, as I would expect. I think this guy's fairly knowledgeable about bikes. I think he'd notice if you'd broken his frame. Honestly, particularly with a bike like this, you only ever damage the frame by having a proper crash. So, frame's good, handlebars aren't cracked or anything. Everything's solid. Right, brakes feel good, which is good. I doubt I have to bleed those. I doubt they need pads or anything. That runs true. You can just look down here at the whisk. You can put your finger on it. Is there a buckle in it? You might be able to see a wobble. That's definitely the tyre. It's got ever so slight. Yeah, it's got a bit of a buckle in the front wheel. Nothing terrible, but a little bit. Might look at that. Look at this one. That seems straight. Yeah, a bit of a wobble in the tyre, but that's straight. Mudguards aren't grinding, which is good. Next thing you want to check is the headset. So you put your front brakes on. Does it rock? What you're looking at is there play here or here? Does it just go tick, 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 tick? That is completely solid. If you've got suspension forks in particular, when you do that with suspension forks, your suspension goes up and down. Particularly on cheap suspension forks, it will feel like it's knocking. So one way you can see if it's the headset, not the suspension forks, is put it on the side. Okay, so a little bit of movement there. Might take that out and grease that just to be sure. And does that turn nice and loosely. Because what happens sometimes if you've got a bad headset, people just tighten that, and that will be grinding. Next thing is the bottom bracket, so that's the bearings that this axle goes through, this crank goes through. How are they? So there's no movement there. Nothing there. That's solid. That's the benefit of riding. If you get creaking and clacking, the saddle can creak, your pedals can creak, your crank arms can creak, or your bottom bracket can creak. Honestly, if you've kept it dryish and you've kept it well, your bottom bracket should last years and years and years. If you ride a bike a lot, and if you're heavy like me, you will go through them a bit. It's because I used to ride in the rain and the mud and stuff, and still do. I keep my bike dry now because I've got nowhere to put it, so it lives inside. And my bottom brackets last years and years, longer than anything really. So Go back to the wheels. Do the wheels run smoothly? Any grinding in the bearings? A little bit, I can hear a little bit of noise, but nothing excessive. We'll check all this in detail later, but smooth as butter, that one. So there's a little bit of grinding there. Could maybe grease it, but I'm not sure how important that is. And that's all the features of the check. Honestly, I'd ride this bike. There's nothing wrong with this bike. The chain is a little bit rusty, but I bet I could clean that off. These are rusty, I just need to clean. I did have some of these. That's broken. I'll either put some new bolts in that, or more likely just take it off, throw it away. I'd say all this bike needs is a bolt in there, is a clean, and maybe a bit of grease, and maybe fiddling with the gears and a chain. But we'll check it anyway. The main thing is this switch kit. So the motorized kit, you click a big sort of battery on there. I've only seen it on the internet, I haven't got the box out yet. And it's all wired up and drives this motor at the front to give you a boost of power. So we'll see how that works. Sort out the mud guards, make it rideable, give it a test and check everything out. So I'm going to stop this video here just to make these more bite-sized consumable videos. And so you can see what you do. If you've got a bike that's acting up a bit, that's like, oh, I need to fix my bike, I need to get a new bike, I've sat in the shed for years, all these things. Honestly, most people who bring me their bikes need two things. They need it cleaned, they need a little bit of oil put on it, and maybe they need a few things tightening, like the gears indexed. This one needs some punches fixed, which maybe I'll do that first, and that will be the next video, fixing punches. But I'm just going to pump these tyres up, see what happens. So if you've got a bike that's a bit clattery and rough, I don't think you need to take it to a bike shop. I don't think you need to take it to an engineer. I think you need to get out your sponge, get out your brushes, get out just some soap, just some washing up liquid and a bucket of warm water. Give it a nice clean, give it a wipe off. I just use old t-shirts and things. This is really sort of moth-eaten, so I just use this, give it a wipe. Wax polish, if you want your bike to look really nice and be protected. If you just use furniture polish, spray a bit on a rag, rub it on your bike. It gives it sort of this wax coating to keep your rubbish off it. And that is invariably all you need to do. Sometimes your wheels go rotten, sometimes the inner tube goes rotten if you leave it a long time. Sometimes if you've got rim brakes here, your brake pads can go rotten. Normally, if you've left it for like a year, it's totally rideable and totally fine. It just needs a bit of jiggling and oiling. We'll do that in the next video, and then we'll start getting into the switch kit. But I will say goodbye for now, and if you're bored and don't want to watch these, you can just quit now.